I have my guest in the studio for AM Talk. I have lawyer Andrew Mensah. He is the MP for Sekondi. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Okay. And also lawyer Abraham Amaliba. He is a member of the NDC's legal team. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You look very casual today.
It is.
Very unusual.
Yes, it
Why?
doesn't.
You have some...
You need to take it gently.
Okay.
Not just holidays last Monday.
Okay.
Today is the first working day.
Okay. So you're taking
and
it
I'm
gently.
taking it slowly, one after the time.
But before we get on to the main discussions, police corporal with the Ashanti Regional Anti-Robbery Task Force has been shot and wounded in a gun battle with armed robbers. One of whom was killed. The shootout in broad daylight took place at Abuabo in Kumasi, and it saw Corporal Frederick Teria hit in the ankle. He's currently on admission at the Konfana Teaching Hospital, and we have on the line the Ashanti Region Police PR person on the line. Will be speaking to her very soon, and the task force was acting on a tip-off on the presence in the community of a suspected armed robber identified as Basit, who has since been gunned down. The fugitive had until now, or until the event, outwitted police on several occasions, and also succeeded again on Monday only to resurface in the Abuabo area. As a police team in a taxi cab accosted him, is said to have ordered his armed men to attack the state security agencies. Unfortunately, we wanted to call the police on this, but we'll get them on the line. We'll speak on the subject. But before we do all that, please let's speak on many issues that are on the front pages of the various newspapers. And we're told that 14 people have been trapped in a mining pit in Nsuta. And I should start with you. I know this one, rescue missions are underway, but you know there were 19 people who were trapped. 4 were able to get out, by the 14 remaining there. Still, the effect of Galamsey, long periods of Galamsey, wouldn't you say?
Yes. Good morning to you, and of course my good friend Maliba here, and to your cherished viewers. It's a strange story. I say so because of the fight that I know is ongoing in the Galamsey area. Of course, I reading from the story, the police are saying that they don't know whether it's a Galamsey site or it's a small-scale mining site. But then again, my understanding is that there's been a complete ban on all small-scale mining activities, whether legal or otherwise, or until some review is done. Unfortunately, people are trapped, and we all hope that the rescue mission is successful, so that they bring them up from the pit. But then again, clearly tells you that the fight is nowhere near over. You know, it's really the beginning, and it's important that we all support government in ensuring that this fight is a success, because otherwise, the harm that it is causing to our environment is unimaginable. It's something that has persisted over the years. Government has clearly indicated its intent to fight it forcefully and to eliminate it completely, if possible, from our system. Of course, small-scale mining will be with us in the coming years. See that its impact on our environment is what the objective is to seek to remedy. So I will call on the police and the rescue team to work hard to rescue our citizens who have been trapped in this pit. And of course, brings to the fore the issue about this Galamsey and illegal mining, and to make us all aware that the fight is not over at all.
Mr. Maliba.
It's a sad story to hear that some people have lost their lives. But the question to ask is whether this was an illegal mining that they were engaged in, or it was a legal mining activity. But be that as it may, I think that the fight against Galamsey has come to an end effectively. The Chinese have been able to penetrate the presidency by giving them huge sums of money in promises. They have been able to get the police on their side by making some donations to them, which was repugnant. They've been able to get the Attorney General to receive a 10,000 cedis money. So you begin to see that the Chinese have a clever way of infiltrating our institutions, and they've done so. What do we do now? For me, I have said time without number that we need to introduce a third tier of mining. We have the large scale, we have the small scale. We need to introduce a third tier, which is medium scale. Now, this medium scale, when introduced, would require that we regulate that area just as how we have been regulating the first two. If you regulate it, you get taxes. If you regulate it, you minimize these accidents, because they are always in a hurry to get their loot and go away. And so they are not even relaxed when they are doing the whole activity. There's no scientific basis upon which they mined. Theirs is to get onto the earth there and quickly get it. They do not also, as it were, they do not also reclaim the land, because for mining, the activity of mining by itself would, as it were, destroy the environment. Mining and farming. Farming destroys the environment, mining destroys the environment, but the impact of the two is different. For farming, you have to cut down trees, you have to weed, that is degrading the environment. For mining, the same thing. You can't mine without destroying the environment, but afterwards, you have to reclaim. Now, is the reclaiming that these people don't do, which affects the environment. So I think that we should create a third tier and then ensure that we are able to regulate that area.
I don't think what you're saying is far off from what the Minister of Lands and is it Natural Resources is also embarking on, and the entire policy of government in making sure that there's sanity in the sector.
I've not heard about a third tier.
Well, not necessarily, but...
I've not heard about a third tier. What I've heard about is stopping Galamsey.
And you are saying we can't stop Galamsey?
I'm saying no. What has happened now with Dr. Bawumia going to China and bringing an MOU that looks like money to them, and they are already saying that money is coming or is big, or when it's just an MOU that is signed, and they are excited about that, with the Chinese embassy here infiltrating our two institutions, key institutions that are supposed to be fighting Galamsey. Why is it that the Chinese embassy did not donate those things to the Ministry of Education? Why is it they didn't donate to Ministry of Local Government? Why they didn't donate to Zongo Ministry? Why they didn't donate to, is it the only two institutions that are in dire need? They are strategic. They know areas that would attack their livelihood. So they have strategically donated to these areas
to soften their stance.
To soften their stance. At least once they donate, they would have a handshake with the minister. That serves as a platform.
But the Chinese already have a cordial relationship with us. So
no, you are not understanding. You know what I'm talking about. You are being mischievous in this thing. I have told you that. Why is it that the Chinese embassy did not donate to schools and the trees? Why don't they help us to remove schools and the trees? If actually they are interested in our well-being, it is schools and the trees. There are more, so many of them. Why don't they help us? Why are they giving to Attorney General? Why are they giving to the police? There's a reason for that. There's no free lunch.
You see, it's strange, you know, when they raise issues and they are exposed, then they quickly turn around and make it seem as if they are the ones who want our well-being.
Yeah.
We're not the first people. Now he's saying that we've gone to China and brought MOU. That looks like money to us. We're not the same people who held a press conference shouting over the top of the roof that government has gone to borrow 20 billion and that was going to add to our debt stock by an excess of so much percentage. They're not the same people.
But
now that the issues have been explained,
let me speak to Superintendent Achu Jinaku. He is the district police commander for Nsuta. Good morning to you. In collaboration with NADMO, how many people have you rescued so far?
Thank you very much. So far, we have not received any but
So they are dead?
They're still trapped. Yeah, they're still trapped down there.
You mean they are dead or they are trapped? Which is which?
Yes, I can't confirm that they are dead or not. But however, in the early morning yesterday, according to the rescue team, they were able to talk to some of them down there. Some of them, they were able to talk to them. They could hear them down there. But as at 2 p.m. in the afternoon yesterday, no information from them, no hearing from them anymore. So we don't know whether they are still alive or dead now.
So it means that you are communicating with them through the phone, mobile phone or cell phones or something of the sort?
Yeah, according to those who gone down there to do the work, they could hear them, they shout, they hear some sound from them. Some they called the phone was ringing, they could hear the phone ringing. But from 2 p.m. up to yesterday, 9 p.m., no information again, no sound like a human being again.
The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is supposed to be waging this war on Galamsey activities. Is Nsuta area also affected or part of it?
I can't say yes or no because I'm also very 2.5 months here. But what I realized is this was still mining association. They stopped operation. When they came, they stopped operation. Nothing's going on there. Yeah. And when you see the site, you see that it's an old site. Because they ever mined there before. Old site, and these people mobilize themselves and go there and do this sort of thing.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is that if the small-scale mining activity was supposed to have been suspended across the country, why are we having this taking place in your jurisdiction?
You don't have them working here. That's what I said earlier on. When I came, they stop operation. They're no more operation. They're not operating. And these people, I said they're illegal. They're the people who go, I don't know how to describe them. They mobilize themselves and still and go there to do. Because see, because there's an old, it's not a new like people are still operating. No, it's a new old people that they meet themselves there to do their own thing. Which is no, I can't really talk for them, but I don't think it is known to them.
So it means that you, the police, you're not complimenting the work of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, right? Because the minister comes there with the task force and goes, and you, the law enforcement agencies, you don't go around to make sure that the illegal operators don't go back to the mining pits.
I'm disagreeing with you, my brother or my sister. I disagree with you.
Oh, your sister.
I disagree with you. Because we are doing our best. If you don't give information, because the area is vast. Where they are hidden, my brother or my sister, if they don't tell you that people are here, you will know. You go on information. If you give information, you move on. You have a task force, yes. As I said, I came very 2.5 months now. Now that I have a chance to have my grounding, and we are doing our best to make sure we keep all this menace. That's what we are doing.
All right.
So if you can bring your men, your team here, to let this to find out other police even aware of their activities over there. You don't even know where they are hiding. Yesterday was the first time that we got there, and I got to know that this what is happening there.
Well, my questions are not to indict you in any way, but in the meantime, I'm a man. I'm not a woman, so don't be addressing me as your sister, okay? But
your voice sounds like that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, okay, sorry, I can't help it. But for all the things that you say, it means that if there's an illegal activity ongoing somewhere else in the district, you wouldn't know because you just came 2.5 months ago. Is that what your excuse is?
That should not be an excuse, but there will be brief. When I came to my sister briefed me the area, and that's where the small mining operators are. Now they are no more. And I can confirm that you can take from them. I don't know, but to the best of my knowledge, they are no more operating because they start going around stopping their people. You know, it's around. Like what happened this day or this yesterday? Not, I don't think this still mining is something. Because there's no gravity there. You not see anything. You only see 4 square holes, deep about 18 meters. So people there inside, how will you know if you don't get information for you to go and stand by to see who will come out from the sea?
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. It's okay. So you're saying it's just plain land. You won't see any activity ongoing, but they are down the pits. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay, so it means that you, the police, you need to be sophisticated. Don't you need to be?
Yeah, so because that he couldn't go down there. I tried myself. I said, the heat that was coming from the place. You can't stand it. You can't stand it.
Well, thank you very much. I'm not saying that you, the police, should go down there. I'm not sure that you would even survive that.
Yeah.
But thank you very much, and thanks for speaking to us. Superintendent Achu Jinaku is the district police commander of Nsuta. It's strange as it is. So people go back to the mining sites that have been abandoned, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you know, the Prestia area, I think there used to be a state gold mining concession there, which was closed. I believe that because of the enforcement of the ban, they have found ways to get to pits that they would ordinarily not be expected to be there. And that's what my understanding from what the police officer is saying.
So you're saying
I only
there's great possibility we could have replication of such actions or inactions?
In other places, yes. So it's important that the task force and the law enforcement officers up their game to ensure that at least the clampdown is effective, you know. But like I was saying before we went on the break, it's important. See, when they get exposed,
you've made that point.
They held a press conference, made all sorts of noise, and when it was clearly pointed out to them that, look, this is not a debt that is going to impact our debt stock in any way, but that these are MOUs that is intended to generate some investment in some sectors of our economy, particularly with respect to our integrated aluminium industry. Now he's flipped around and is saying that we went to China and brought a paper, MOU, and we are now going around saying that the money is big. Who has said so? Look, we were in this country when, with the commencement of the fight against Galamsey, it came out that in 2013, thereabout, when His Excellency the former president had set up a task force to fight the Galamsey, some letter from the Chinese embassy. Do you remember?
I do.
It was because of that letter that they stopped. You presided over the affairs of this country for 8 years. It was within your era as a government that the menace of Galamsey escalated to the levels that we are seeing now. Others have come and they are fighting it. Yet you say that support from the Chinese to some state institutions, which has been ongoing since time immemorial, is intended to compromise the work that they are doing. But we all know that in fact, because of the ban that was put in place, the activities of the Galamseyers have significantly reduced. Of course, like I said, it's early days, and nobody would expect that this fight will be won in 6 months. It's ongoing. There's only time that will tell to what extent that this government is able to achieve the objective of reducing or eliminating Galamsey perpetually. And you recall that His Excellency the President, on 1st May, when he addressed the TUC members, said that mining will be with us forever. And so long as God has, as it were, blessed this country with abundant resources, we would by all means have to mine them. But it is how responsible the mining is done that the government is seeking to regularize, so that some sanity is brought to the fore in that area. And I'm only hopeful that all the measures that have been put in place would be implemented fully to achieve the objective of saving.
But I just wanted to say, what he said wasn't wrong. We said that we're clamping on Galamsey. Now 14 people are trapped in a mine. That's what he's referring our minds to. That after all, it's a cause and effect situation. But let's go to Best FM's Kojo Fletcher. He is in Nsuta, where we're told the incident has happened. He's joining us live. Kojo, good morning to you. Now, the rescue efforts, which institutions are complementing the efforts of the security agencies to undertake this rescue effort?
Well, please come again.
Which institutions are complementing the efforts of the security agencies for the rescue effort?
Well, what I know is that 17 men from the Small-Scale Mine Association, who are also professionally trained, are also there to help the rescue team to remove these people who are trapped down there.
But how come that the various members of the task force or the security agencies never noticed this? That a mine that has been isolated for some time or dormant had apparently been active all this while.
Yes, Roland. The Small-Scale Mine Association also, I know that, has a task force who are moving around in helping the government to clamp down these illegal acts. And yesterday I was speaking to the secretary here, the Valley branch, Mustafa Mohammed, where he is that their task force are active and they are working. So I asked him whether they knew that place people were mining there. He told me they've clamped down every illegal mining in this area with the help of government, and that those people who went there or those who are now trapped illegally to mine, because they knew that those that is closed and that no one should have gone there. He also told me that place is an illegal area, and those who went there to mine are illegal miners. They don't know the owner of the pit yet, because if he was to be licensed, I mean, he could have been part, or he would have been part of the Small-Scale Mining Association here in the Peter University. So as of now, those who went there illegal.
Do you have the latest from the rescue grounds? Anybody perhaps who's now being taken out of the pit, if any at all?
No one has taken out from the pit. And the scary part is that it started raining here in the Peter Valley district, and we are hoping that the rains will go down and the rescue team will be able to do their work. The thing is that the sticks which were used in supporting these sticks have now all down, and they have to back all these sticks out of the pit and also back the stand that collapsed on them out before they'll be able to do them. So there are people inside there who are doing this job so that they'll be able to get them.
Well, thank you very much. Kojo Fletcher is a reporter with Best FM. It's a local radio station in Nsuta, giving us the latest from what has been happening. But let's move on and talk about...
No. He had 2 bites on this matter.
Oh, tit for tat.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I wanted us to speak on the...
You see, during the NDC...
Yes, sir.
You all saw the fight that we took to the Galamsey.
It was not successful, apparently.
Let me make my point. Idris Husseini, then minister of that sector, took the fight to the Galamsey. This fight even unearthed some collaboration from the part of some Ghanaians. One of them was their party chairman in the Ashanti region, whose machines were confiscated. He went to court to ask the court to release those machines for him to go back and mine. These are the people we are talking about. Then you sit here and say that...
Was he involved in Galamsey?
Look, those who finance the Galamsey, are they personally involved? Do they go into the hole? Do they go into the hole? I'm saying that the fight against Galamsey cannot be fought in a half-hearted approach. It must be full length. So if the Chinese are doing what they were doing or did what they did, I expected the government to say, no, at this time, it's not appropriate.
Yeah, show leadership. Based on the letter from Chinese embassy,
that you intend to fight Galamsey. But what is the perception of people if you begin to collect goodies from them? He said we made noise about their money, million cedis they are bringing from China. Billion. If you have a vice president who kicked against borrowing and said he worked at the Bank of Ghana, he knows there's money here. He's come into power. Less than 6 months. He makes a U-turn and goes to China. You expect us, a responsible minority,
because
not to expose
responsibility,
not to expose such a person who told
Ghanaians.
It's falsehood that Baumia didn't say that he wouldn't borrow. It's falsehood.
Listen to this man. You're sitting here yourself. You contradicted yourself.
So I am saying that if you come from China and make a press statement and meet everybody and tell everybody that this is what we've gone to China to do. We will also tell you that you, when you were in opposition, these are the things you said. In any case, the things that you are saying is money. It's not money. It's paper. Will expose you. So that's the work of the minority. The minority would, on any day, expose some of the things. We are going to come to VAT. Another exposure there.
Yes, because VAT, prices of goods and services manufactured
Another
locally
exposure there.
and imported have been increased from July 1.
I always tell you, when
Following
you continue
introduction
on that
of what we
trajectory,
call
you stay in opposition for a very long time.
A 3% VAT flat rate scheme. And I know you have a lot more information. They say the marginal rate of represents the net VAT payable and is the difference between output tax and input tax of wholesaler or retailer, etc. Lawyer Mensah, your thought on this?
Yes, consistent with the government's promise to reintroduce the 3% flat rate scheme on 1st July. That flat rate scheme regime, pursuant to the amendment of the VAT Act, Act 870, Act 948, makes provision for the replacement of the 17.5% tax with a 3% flat rate, nominal flat rate scheme for wholesale and retail of goods. Of course, it does not apply to the provision of services, and also it does not apply to manufacturing and import, because you know that there's an import VAT that will still remain. This is a nominal tax. It's very easy, simple to implement and to calculate. Its acceptability it's much more socially acceptable. It also seeks to take away the potential for people to evade the payment of VAT. Because you and I know that you go to some shops and they ask you whether you want the VAT invoice or not. But this nominal flat rate, clearly, there's a disincentive for people to avoid paying a 3% VAT as opposed to 17%. And this, if I should add, has the full support of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, I believe. What the issue as contained in the story seeks to portray is that because it has taken away the input component under the standard scheme, which is the 17.5, some manufacturers and some importers are complaining that it will lead to increases in price of commodities. But the truth of the matter is that if you apply the computation as you are required to apply it, it would rather lead to a reduction in the prices of commodities on the market than increase it. What the issue that, like I said, we're complaining about is that now that they're not going to get a credit for payment of input tax, but I will have to work it as part of their cost and then charge a 3% flat rate on their sales to wholesalers and retailers. As usual with every new introduction of a policy, people will complain about it. But as time goes on and the explanations are offered and continuous engagements are held, I believe that they will come to accept it and implement it to, as it were, help with the development of this country that we all crave for.
Mr. Maliba, your comments on this subject?
He's not reading.
He says it is going to reduce prices. I have in my hand the synopsis that you gave us. Reintroduce 3% VAT rate to raise prices
And
threaten jobs.
And that's
worried
coming from
manufacturers. And he sat here and said that the AGI are all supportive of this.
I said Guta. I didn't mention AGI.
And now see what the manufacturers are saying.
It's important that
Ghana Union of Trade.
Information.
Look at what the manufacturers
you're talking about
saying.
Ghana Union of Trade.
Yes.
Now, you have also here, still with your synopsis, saying that if a manufacturer buys from an importer of non-exempt raw materials, then the importer will transfer all the 17.5% VAT to customers. And you have a government spokesperson here saying that it is all going to be fine and nothing is going to come and there are no problems. How can you sit on national television, look the eye of Ghanaians, into the eyes of Ghanaians, and tell them that the introduction will not create any price hikes? It's shocking. And that is why you people did the right thing by giving us these things. He said, I was reading. I thought they said that we don't read. So you gave me these things to read. He has read it, but true to their nature, when they read something, they come out to mutilate it, led by the vice president. You tell people that this VAT, when introduced, will not increase prices. And you think that the people who are listening are not discerning enough.
You know,
but we have, look.
If
would you let me speak? Would you let me speak? Would you let me speak?
Don't throw out misinformation.
You are fan of doing
put words in my mouth.
Because
when you do that, then I'm compelled to interject
this.
immediately.
You are a lawyer. You know
straight.
that when you go to court, we take our turns. And as a
But
lawyer,
there's an opportunity to object when you are throwing out misinformation.
I'm saying that you have your turn. I was uncomfortable, but when you were speaking, I had to restrain myself. So enjoy it. You see, the point is that we told Ghanaians the nature of these people. They told us that they were coming to make life comfortable. You remember that the tape recording, the audio that is going around of the voice of the president. Ghana, you remember? Now
But that was campaign. This is real.
So are you justifying?
No, I'm not justifying
campaigns of lies to the Ghanaian people.
But you cannot say the weddings and then the advertorials and the public education and the campaigning that was undertaken were all lies.
I have just given you, I didn't say all lies, I've given you one.
Okay,
I have just told you that he campaigned on making Ghanaians live in comfort. This president, that's his campaign. He said, we were living in wealth, but we were poor. The people of Ghana heard him right, loud and clear, and voted for him. These things that they are doing, is that the way to cushion the ordinary Ghanaian? So, when we say that this is a 419 government, this is what we mean. You take the power of the people, you now come into power, then you squeeze them. But are you surprised? You're not surprised. I'm not surprised if you are surprised. You know they could not meet their first quarter tax that they said they were going to receive. The monies they said they were going to receive. The revenue targets. They could not.
By the GRA.
The GRA, they could not. When they went to the finance minister, when he went to Parliament, where he praised his family lineage before he went to the budget. When he went to Parliament, he indicated that they were going to meet some threshold. They've missed it. So if these things are reintroduced, they said that they had taken off what is called nuisance tax and brought in some reliefs. Are these reliefs that they said they had taken off the taxes, are we feeling it? The Abosokai people, the very same people who voted for them, some who used their money and gave it to them to win the elections. The spare parts that they said they were going to take.
But we just only recently saw the change.
Leave him.
Let me make my point. The way you think is not the way I think.
talker.
I don't think the way you people think, oh. I don't think like that. I'm going to make a point. When they said they were going to take off the taxes.
They said it immediately, but with this one, they just introduced it.
When they said they were going to take the tax, what happened when they went to Parliament? Targeted spare parts. They did not take off the tax completely. Targeted. But when you
not wholesome.
Not wholesome. You now know where I'm going to? That is another 419.
Oh.
That's another 419. You told the people that you were going to give them tax free.
That was campaign. Oh.
Why do you? So are you justifying campaigns of lies?
Is not campaign.
Are you justifying campaigns of lies?
Well, Ghanaians heard them and still voted for them.
You said what? They heard them. Yeah. Ghanaians heard them.
If you say they were
the Ghanaians heard them and expected that when they come into office, they will implement those things. They voted for those things, those promises. So when you come and you do a turnabout and you are now implementing things that you didn't tell the people, they will see you as 419. It's the same thing that they said they were going to create a region in 6 months. The Western North. These are people that you don't take seriously.
But the region will not be. We're now being told that they will be.
They'll do a
good.
Exactly. Exactly. I am. You know.
But that's what the
do you
law
know
says.
My submissions here? I am exposing lies. That's the nature of my submission. I'm not saying that. I
know what you're doing.
Yes, and you're also throwing sand into my garden, and I'm saying that this is unacceptable.
I'm not.
You mount a platform. You tell the people that you are going to do 1, 2, 3. When you come, implement them, but don't do a U-turn. And this is a government
government
cannot be relied upon. And I have said that, the people of Ghana, see them.
But true to form, I know you want to react to. True to form, we have the General Secretary of the Food and Beverage Association,
I indicated
saying that this will increase prices as much as 9%.
Look, I have and say that nothing will happen.
I have the computation of the mechanics here, and I'm going to share it with our cherished viewers.
Please
but
do.
Let me say so emphatically. Government has not done any U-turn in respect of the promises that they made to the people of this country. Okay? It is the responsibility of government to manage this economy in giving reliefs. It can't all happen in one day, and the people of this country
now he's talking about the promises you made. Indeed,
yes,
you made
of
promises.
Course, I'm coming. Yes,
that
we made
within
promises.
a period of first 2 quarters of you being in office, certain things will be achieved. But we also know that the realities were far different from what they are, and you should have known that because as a party you've been in government before.
I agree that some of the timelines.
And it looks like the Ghanaian voter population bought into all that.
Of course,
and that's what he's saying, that those in reality were not true.
What was not true? Because he says so.
Well, no,
because Amaliba says so.
For example, you went to announce that you have a reduction in prices in some spare parts, but we know that within the ECOWAS protocols there were inhibitions, and so you had to go back to Parliament.
Absolutely.
But when you were making those promises, you didn't know.
So do we have to tell everybody that we'll have to go to ECOWAS and get?
Well, when you were making those promises, you should have told the Aboso kind spare parts operators.
We have reduced those taxes.
Well, granted.
We have taken them away.
True.
Have they not been taken away?
Holy?
Now they have.
So what are we talking about?
Holy?
Oh, now it's a qualification of holy and not
Look
holy.
at you. I'm qualifying you.
Look.
What did you tell the people?
The people of this country, in any event,
I'm qualified.
Look, the responsibility of government to provide reliefs ought to be done in a responsible manner, in a manner that will not jeopardize the economy of this country.
That's true.
And so if we say that we are going to review taxes, reduce some taxes, bear in mind we have a 4-year mandate, and we have in the first year introduced part of them. As we look to increase productivity and improve other sectors of the economy, some of the additional reliefs will come in the subsequent
How
budget.
do you address a concern of Samuel Agri?
Look,
who is saying that prices could increase as much as 9%?
Like I said,
there's extreme apprehension in the manufacturing sector.
But of course, there are some other segments of the Ghanaian economy who are happy with the marginal tax rate.
How do you get that?
Because, like I told you, GUTA is in full support because it's easier to implement. 3%. There is no need to now compute the difference between input and output taxes before the differential is paid to GRA. It's a simplified mode of applying the VAT. And this pertains in other jurisdictions as well, including the United Kingdom. So what are they talking about? Look, under the existing standard rate of 17.5%, assuming you make a purchase of 1,200 Ghana cedis, you pay an input VAT of 210. Okay? Now, when you add the addition, you transform the raw material or whatever into a finished product. The value addition is assumed at, say, 420 Ghana cedis. The sales price would be 1,620. The 420 plus your 1,200. At that point, you ought to charge 17.5% VAT of which comes to 283.50. It is this figure that you net off and pay the input of 210 less the output of 283 that you deduct and pay net VAT of 73.50 to Ghana revenue. Now, the selling price to a consumer then will be the 1,620 sales cost plus the 283.50 VAT. Total price to consumer is 1,903.50 under the 17.5 regime. Now, let's go to the 3%. Purchase of same 1,200, import VAT of 210, value addition of 420, bringing your sales to 1,620 plus the input of 210, which comes to 1,830. You apply 3% and it comes to 1,884. Clearly, the difference between 1,884 that you sell to the consumer is clearly lower than the 1,903 under the old regime. So what is Amaliba talking about? If you don't know, ask and let us teach you. Okay? Don't demonstrate ignorance on national TV and seek to confuse the people. Okay? Now, what is happening is this, that because the manufacturers are no longer going to set off this 73, 210 from the 283, they have an issue that rather than add it to our cost, okay, why don't you maintain the input output for us? And government is saying that, look, that creates complexities because we want to implement a simple tax regime. Okay. This add it to your cost and then let us tax minimal and nominal rate of 3% on your turnover.
But sporadically in industry and
of course,
enjoy
because
business.
It's a change.
Yes,
people will oppose it.
The point is,
but like I said, engagements are going on.
The point is that as far as we're concerned, within the value chain, the cascading effects will not be, there will not be equilibrium or will not be equitable.
You see,
so you find that according to the concerns being raised, some consumers will have a net of effect of paying more for some goods or services that will be rendered to them.
Not necessarily.
And so the fear from the very people that you claim, Guta, they haven't been mentioned here, but AGI, we have Importers and Exporters Association, as well as the Ghana Automobile Distributors, which we know, of course, are the higher versions of the Aboso kind people. They are raising an effect that because of the compounding impact of the 3%, the value chain prices could see some level of inflation for the consumer.
Not necessarily.
To the tune of between 6% to 15%.
That's why I keep...
And that's a concern for the ordinary consumer.
I keep indicating not necessarily. It all depends on how well it is computed.
Well, true. The computation is clear.
I'm coming, yes. And if people don't inflate their costs, okay? Now, the old regime had a benefit for manufacturers and importers.
Yes.
It had a benefit.
Yes, and your party.
I'm coming. And
the manifesto you had.
Wait.
You said you were going to you were going to improve the manufacturing sector, especially as well as.
Why don't you wait for me to explain the nature of the benefit before you come in to say? Because you see, the input and output tax created potentially created a situation where because people, the manufacturers and importers have stocks at all times, no revenue was accruing to the state. But we've taken that away. Okay? So they are not happy. And as to whether it is legitimate or otherwise,
well, you're crowding out the manufacturers. So no, you don't think it's a problem?
There is no crowding out because this is not cost that they are assuming. Okay? Bear in mind that at all times in the past, The 17.5% is what you and I consumers pay. Now we are not paying 17.5. We are paying a nominal 3%. That's a huge differential. Okay, that is taken off. So what we are saying is that if you do the computation properly and the input tax is added to your cost, the net is that there would be a relief to the consumer. And that is what it is. But now there's no gap between the input and output tax, which clearly impacts government revenue. And so people in that category are not excited.
Yeah.
But as we engage them,
but there are people in those people in those categories also are not excited because their cost of doing business will increase.
No, not at all. It will not increase their cost.
Then.
Of course, like I've explained to you with this table, this is part of their production cost. Okay, that is part of the cost of sale. It's part of your business operations.
You see, an ignoramus is calling me ignorant. See, General Secretary of Food and Beverage Association, Samuel Agri, he's also ignorant. This man too is also ignorant, just like how he called me ignorant. Tells Joy Business the development could also result in prices going up by as much as 9%.
Well, he's allaying those fears. That's what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying, that this man too is ignorance. This man.
He's allaying his fear, and allaying your fear too.
Per his description of me being ignorant, whereas he is speaking
in respect of this subject matter.
Yes, it's in respect of this.
In respect of this subject matter.
So you learn to be quiet.
Okay, that's okay.
You will learn. Can you imagine if we were outside, you would have called me ignorant?
In respect of this matter. In respect of this.
Once you have, you call me ignorant.
Restricted. We are friends.
See, you call me ignorant. I sat on my seat.
Of course, you are ignorant in respect of this matter.
Exactly. So an ignoramus like him says that Samuel Agri is also ignorant.
Who is the Samuel Agri?
Samuel Agri is the General Secretary of the Food and Beverage Association. So I am ignorant. This person who is being affected by the VAT is also ignorant. So we are two ignorant people here. Now, he goes on to say that this is not because we want to increase our prices, but it's because we appreciate the impact on our operations, like you were trying to point out, the impact. He goes further to say that the rising input cost has forced us to pass it on to wholesalers and the final consumer, he said. You see, we are lawyers. If your case is bad, it's bad. There's no way, no legal gymnastics can make you win the case. You saw how he was struggling. I am saying that the good people of Ghana are watching. They know what this government has promised them. They know what this government is doing. All they need to do is to do a balance sheet. The accounting people say that balance sheet. Look here, then you look here. Is that it? I rest my case.
Roland,
yes, sir.
You can have the computation for yourself.
Yes, please. I understand. I was following through very well too, because I was asked, so I picked some.
And you see clearly that the cost to the consumer actually reduces
in this scenario.
Absolutely.
And you consulted all the stakeholders.
The stakeholders have been consulted,
but they are still raising concerns. If the stakeholders are raising concerns,
you expected. It's a new policy.
You are saying it's normal.
Yeah, of course, it's expected that people raise concerns. It is not everybody's concerns that can be addressed in one stroke.
You see, the Gunter people that he's talking about, I have not seen their statement, but I have seen reactions from Food and Beverages, Manufacturers Association, AGI. I've seen their reaction.
AGI.
I've seen their manufacturers are part of the AGI.
Yeah. They are worried.
They are worried.
Extremely worried.
I have seen.
I have to say they're extremely worried.
I have seen their reactions. I have not seen this Guta reaction, which is not there to speak to. I talk about evidence. So I will take his Guta submission with a pinch of salt, because I have not seen it.
On the front page of the Daily Guide, we're told that NDC apparently was siphoning 40 million Ghana cedis from Bost. And this is just a serious issue. Details are apparently emerging according to the Daily Guide story found by one William Yawusu about how Bost Okay. And its management transferred, we're told, 40 million Ghana cedis to the presidency in a bizarre manner. They were calling it, we're told it is unclear which account the payments were made, but Daily Guide understands that about 40.5 million was made. And we're also told that it was made between August 2015 and early January. And we're also told that the New Patriotic Party apparently dropped this hint. Can you tell us more, Andrew Mesa, on the subject? We know that this is coming on the heel of so-called contaminated fuel being sold inappropriately, as far as we're concerned.
According to the NDC, of course, what else do you expect? When it became evident over the weekend that clearly this so-called contaminated fuel is not something new. It is something that has been happening at Bost over several years. And that in 2016 alone, they sold contaminated fuel that they choose to call slop in excess of 12 million liters to dealers who apply letters by way of letters to the managing director seeking for some quantities of slop to enable them improve their life and raise capital to as it were, put their businesses in proper step. Of course, in the documentation that we have subsequently seen, some payments were being made on a regular basis to the office of the Chief of Staff at the presidency, as to whether they constitute dividends to the Republic of Ghana, or of course, those are not the means by which dividends to the Republic is paid, or they were sent there for some other purpose. We are yet to determine. Of course, that is part of the reasons why a call was made that a forensic audit, some thorough investigation relating to the operations of Bost and their financial dealings over a certain period should be considered as part of the committee that the minister has set up to investigate this particular instance of contamination, which in fact occurred prior to the managing director assuming office as MD. And that point ought to be clearly made, that it was not the case that Alfred Obeng, it was during his era that the contamination occurred. The contamination occurred before he assumed office as MD of Bost. I have said clearly, and that's the position of His Excellency the President, that any individual who perpetrates some malfeasance ought to be held accountable for their actions. And so if it is the case that somebody has done some wrong or some, as we are being told, the human error that led to this contamination was something that was procured fraudulently by some other persons. Clearly, they should be held accountable. But the stories that I imagine tells you the rot that was taking place under the directorship of Mr. Iwadako. And it's important that this information is brought to the public to understand that this is not an institution that has been managed properly. That some attempts, I understand, by this new managing director to clean the stables is what is leading to all these allegations that are being leveled against him, as if to say he has committed some crime. But in fact, no untoward act has been occasioned by him at all. So I believe that in due course, the details will emerge as to why these sums of money were regularly paid to the office of the president. And then we, the people of Ghana, will make an informed decision when that information is put out there.
Mr. Maliba, this is as serious as it can get. 40.5 million going to the presidency.
I want to put a caveat before I start. He has seen how I have restrained myself. I want him to also do the same. He made a point that is the NDC that is saying those things about the current board MD, isn't it?
The boss. MD.
The boss. That says who, according to him, says who, the NDC. Duncan Amwa is from Petroleum Consumer or Petroleum
Chamber
of Petroleum Consumers. Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. He said similar things. ASEP said similar things. So are they NDC? When there's a genuine national concern, you want to trivialize it and say it's NDC. But they have a system they call divide and rule. Tell the people that this comes from NDC. And when you tell them it's come from NDC, then the people will not believe. The people are wiser now. They were wise, but now they are wiser. This whole deal is murky. For God's sake. But let me take a second to define slop and contaminated fuel. Contamination is when you have maybe petrol being mistakenly mixed with diesel. And there's a way to treat it. The product that you want to come out, you continue pouring that product, blending it till you get that product.
The needed volumes.
The needed volumes. Slop is when, you know, the tankers, they carry, but at the end of the day, when you want to clean it. Asieno. Like
I grew up in Ashama, so I know what you're talking about.
No, let me also send it to those who have not grown out there. You know rice, when you cook the kanzo,
yeah.
It's like the kanzo. We were selling the kanzo. They have criminally decided to mix it and to sell. Haven't you been told that this is a man who sponsored the MPP campaign? Haven't you been told by Kenya Japan that he brought money and they sent it to the MPP?
I haven't heard Kenya.
Okay. Don't you think that this is a man who thinks that his appointment there is supposed for him to reap what he sowed?
By what means?
By deliberately contaminating the fuel.
But we're told
so
that selling whether slop or whatever it is, it's not the first time. And
you can't say selling slop or whatever. Everything has a name. You can't say that human beings, we have names. Slop. What we sell is the slop. But what we don't sell, which we continue to blend to get the right volumes that we want, is the contaminated one. That's what they have sold. Check the companies they have sold to. Now, let me even get back. He says that the contamination was done before this man came into office. Trying to suggest that it was done during Ewodako's time. Ewodako left office 6th January. Contamination was done 18th January. Ewodako can come back after. The way you sack people, the way you deal with people, the way you sack people. Can Ewodako come back on the 18th and do the contamination? See the companies that are involved. A company that was formed and incorporated on the 9th of July.
No,
I mean the moving Pina.
You mean just recently?
Yes.
Okay. Not July. You mean
I mean June. Moving Pina got incorporated, but they actually bought the product before they got incorporated.
It's normal also.
When they want to talk, they sit here.
Is it not normal?
No, it's good. I've been rehearsing this answer for some of you. When we want to talk, I met him on another platform. He said that
there's something like
reincorporation. Reincorporation. That was what he told me.
But you're a lawyer.
Yes. And the viewers should be listening. Where there is a law that regulates a particular sector and provides that unless you are licensed, you cannot start operating, that law supersedes the Companies Act. He's a lawyer. Can a bank?
An ignoramus one.
Can a bank go ahead to collect deposits from without having a Bank of Ghana?
Or even registered and even
I am saying the question again. Can a bank start taking deposits from citizens or people?
As it can do so as a microfinance.
When they are talking, people have names. I'm talking about names. A bank is different from a microfinance. I'm saying, can a bank start taking deposits from people without being licensed by the Bank of Ghana.
So all you're saying
under the Bank of Ghana Act.
All you're saying is that explanation is untenable.
The NPA Act, which regulates the downstream sector, provide for how companies in that sector should operate. They must have license. You sit down, lame duck excuse. You can
Pre-incorporation.
Pre-incorporation. When there's a law.
Is it not acceptable?
That haven't I given you a banking act that regulates a sector which you cannot do because your company's act says you can do that? I've just given you an example. I can give you more examples.
You need a professional license.
I can give you more examples where
there are specific.
You see,
what sector?
When you are hitting, is it because we were not being given birth from the same mother? That's why you can't restrain yourself.
Is it restrain yourself? Yes, restrain yourself.
Learn to restrain yourself. You were hitting hard. I was in pain. But I kept it. Suffer it.
I'm not in any pain at all. I just want you to provide.
The point is that if you have a company whose incorporation is in doubt and creates issues of fraud in the scheme of the transaction, it's a matter of national concern. Can you imagine if this was under President John Mahama? What wouldn't these people say? Oh, the Mahama administration. But this one, it's not the Nana Akufo-Addo, Bawumia, or Safo Mafa administration. It's not. This one is not. And you have these people trying to take the high moral ground to preach to us as to how to fight corruption. I am saying that if they are saying they want to establish a special prosecutor, in my view, that special prosecutor has his first accused person in the person of the MD. Because everything about that transaction smells.
Stinks.
I say smells.
So.
You can choose that one. But I know that one. I say I don't want that one. Now, if Ghanaians are raising questions, what didn't you do? What didn't you do when Bas branding came? The thing we've forgotten. What didn't you do? Then this criminal act, alleged criminal act, you say there's nothing wrong. We should all go to sleep because you are the real owners of this country. And once you have come, the rest of us, we have no reason to raise an eyebrow over anything. We shall continue to hold them accountable. Look, the tape, which was used to measure us, that tape is not missing. No. That same tape will be used to measure them. And we shall hold them accountable. People like us will not relent in ensuring that what they promise the people of Ghana will remind them always.
Because the story we're talking about was NDC siphoning 40 million.
Yes. What did he talk about? I have indicated on this matter that if you are in you come, and that was a majority press conference in Parliament. He's one of them. If you are in government, you come to the press statement, a press conference
with evidence.
You come and say, on the 15th, they transferred this money to
but the dates are all in the paper.
Then
read it for him, Roland. Read it.
Roland, can you ask him to restrain himself? Roland, yes. I am not interested in reportage. Who is this newspaper? Is this the newspaper whose editor has been appointed an ambassador? Who is benefiting from this? You don't know Gina
Fortunately, the owners has been appointed ambassador.
You don't know the owners of this paper?
Yeah,
Gina Now, I am saying that if you come to a press conference, you come with documents to show the transfers. You don't come and just read off on top of your head, and the paper will also aid you to put figures there. What are the evidence? What are the signatures?
According to the news report, it's between August 2015 and early January.
I'm saying that.
Give him the dates. The dates are
evidence.
The dates are
Where is the document that transferred the money to the presidency at the time? Where is it?
Should we believe the dates and the figures?
Should we believe these people? These are people who said they weren't going to borrow. These are people who said they removed
We're told that
130.
contaminated fuel was sold 24 companies. That's what I said, as well as.
These are people who said that they have employed 130 people, removed 130 ghost names. It turned out that they were living people.
Oh,
do you believe these people?
You mean 13?
Do you believe these people? So let them provide evidence. Let them provide that, oh, Joy News, take this. This is.
You know, in the story, the former president's
reference.
face has been attributed to the story.
That's the point I'm saying. That's the point.
So you're saying the story is propaganda?
I have told you that under their term, this thing that has happened, they would have said John Mahama. But under their term, you see the brouhaha at the boss. You see where they have placed Nana Akufo-Addo hugging somebody. He's up there hugging somebody at the UN. His face is not
AU.
attached to
This AU.
AU. His name is not attached to the act. President Mahama, his name has been attached. That is the kind of situation we found ourselves during their time. And
but the allegation is that the monies were paid to his office.
And when you are talking about
You
it,
mean they were paid to the president?
Yes.
When they are talking about it, they say that you shouldn't talk about it. That is from NDC propaganda. ASEP, and then the Petroleum Consumer Association are all NDC people.
All right, so your last words on this, and then we'll go for a break.
You see, it's interesting that he danced around the allegation that we're talking about.
Well, he raised serious issues about pre-incorporation or transactions.
You see, that's why, you know, sometimes Amaliba is my friend, and he took offense to some word that I used.
No, but I also gave you one. You are ignoramus.
I
When you give me, I
apologize
give you.
if you took offense.
No, I don't. I won't ask you to apologize. Me,
It was in
myself, if you
respect
give me, I give
to
you.
the subject matter that we were discussing. Clearly, you see,
Because I don't
if you
insult.
look,
I don't insult, but when
if
you
you
insult
look,
me, I give it to you.
if you look at the company's documentation, you wonder where they even get the issue of incorporation. Because he knows that it is under Act 179 that we talk of incorporation. And that registration of business names, there's no issue of incorporation. He knows. That's why I'm saying that, you see, they I don't want to use the word they don't read, like the vice president said. But if you look at the documentation relating to this Movenpina, you wonder where they are getting their matter from. Safe to say that because of the propaganda that they want to play, that's why they are mixing it all up and creating all sorts of issues when there really is none.
You're saying that it's normal.
It's an enterprise, even.
Yeah, okay.
You understand? Yet,
You're saying it's normal.
what is normal? I'm saying that with respect to the sale of this contamination,
It's normal.
that is the nature of the trade at bust.
Of the business.
Absolutely. That they sell these things to entities.
What phrase
that
do
makes
industry practice?
Absolutely. And so, you see, look, if there is wrongdoing, by all means, let's get to the bottom of it and then prosecute if need be. But when it comes to propaganda, you can't throw dust in the eyes of anybody.
I am saying to him, Section 11 of MPA Act say you cannot deal with those products.
If you are not licensed.
You are licensed.
What is
you
the-
understand that?
what is the
kind
nature-
of law
what
is
is
in
the
that they
nature
don't
of the
understand
business that these people
Why
have?
won't you understand?
Abraham
You cannot
Maleba is a
go-
legal
you
practitioner.
cannot deal in those
Also in the
products
studio
unless
with
you
another
are
legal
IOSC
practitioner,
or a BDC or what?
Your own
Andrew
MPA
Mesa.
said it.
Your
Okay.
own MPA
All right.
said it.